Okay, we're going to be doing question number 3 from the 2012 test. So let's get started. So the question says, consider a software system that models a horse barn. Classes that represent horses implement the following interface. Public interface horse, get name, get weight, okay. Horse barn consists of n number of spaces. Each can hold at most one horse. The spaces are indexed from starting from 0. The last space n-1, okay. Declaration. Okay. So these are the two methods we're going to be creating: find horse space and consolidate. So let's see what find horse space does. So find horse space inputs a string name, and then it returns the index of the space in the barn that contains the horse with that specified name. And the precondition says no two horses in the barn have the same name. Okay. And then consolidate. It consolidates the barn by moving the horses so that the horses are in adjacent spaces, starting at 0 with no empty space between any two horses. And then precondition, the order of the horses is the same. Okay. So let's do the first question. So this one wants us to write find horse space. So this method returns, we already know what it does. Okay, so here's an example. So here's a barn, and then let's say they put in trigger. It returns 0 because trigger's here. Okay, so how we go about doing this? I think what you should do, or what I did, you create a for loop and you want to loop through the entire array. So I'll write this right now. So we want to say, we have public and find horse space, and it inputs string name. Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay. So then what I would do, I would create a for loop and then have an if statement in there that tests if the inputted string matches the name of the horse, and if it does, then return that index. And then once it reaches the end of the for loop, return -1. So I would say for int I equals 0, I is less than, and I would say this dot spaces dot length, and then I plus plus. Okay. And then that if statement. So, and we want to check if it's null as well. So we would say if this dot spaces and then index at I does not equal null, and if name dot equals, and then this dot spaces dot length. Okay, awesome. And then what that would do, if it finds it, then it returns I, and then if it makes it to the end of the for loop, then you just return -1. And that's it. Okay, so the second one, it's consolidate. So let's see. Okay, here. B. So write the horse barn method consolidate. This method consolidates the barn by moving horses so that the horses are in adjacent spaces starting at 0. Okay. So what I would do, probably, to do this, to consolidate them so that they're all spread out and then you have to put them together, what I would do, what I did, I create an array list, and then I fill all of the horses, only the horses, into the array list, and I do that by saying if the spot isn't null, then put it, and then insert the horse into the array list, and then so I have an array list of the horses, and then I would clear the actual array, the barn, and then just make that all the spaces empty, and then I would input the horses that are in my array list into the beginning of the barn, and we would be set. Okay, so the way you do that is you have 3 for loops. Well, first you want to make your array list. So consolidate. So consolidate. Okay. So then I have an array list, type horse. Oh jeez. Type horse. I'll call it barn equals new array list. Type horse. Okay, so my first for loop, I would want to put all of the actual spots. I would want to put all of the horses into my array list. So I would say I would use a for each loop. So I would say for each horse, I in this dot spaces, and I want to say if it's not null, so if I does not equal null, then barn.add I, because I is the actual horse, because this is a for each loop. And then my second one would clear the actual barn. Well, not my array list, it would clear the actual array. So what I want to do for that, I want to make an array list using from 0 to spaces.length. So I would say int, I'll just call it j equals 0, and then j is less than this dot spaces dot length, and j plus plus. Okay, and then I just want to say this, and then for each one, just this dot spaces j equals null, because I want to set all of them to null and make it empty. And then my third for loop, I want to put all of the horses that are in the array list into the actual array spaces. So I want to say I want to go 0 to the array list dot size. So I want to say int, call it f equals 0. F is less than the barn dot size, and also f plus plus. And then all I want to do is this dot spaces, and then at index f equals barn dot get, and then index f. And that's it. That'll do it. Oh, wait. No, yeah, that'll do it. All right. So that's question 3 from the 2012 test. Awesome.